I realized early on that I couldn't do it all myself, right? And so, in order to leverage my time and abilities, I had to find others who did things better than I did, to take it off my plate.
Welcome to another episode of the Seven Figure Journey podcast, where we explore the ins and outs of the seven figure journey. Today, we've got Vasilios Sinagridis with us out of Tampa, Florida. Welcome to the show, Vasilios.
Thank you. Very nice to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you on. Now, you started your business. This is Orama Digital Design. How long ago did you start this business?
So it was March of 2020, exactly four and almost. We're going on our fifth year coming up shortly, which seemed like yesterday. So here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did you choose this business?
To be quite honest, I came from a hospitality background. So my family, growing up, I was in the restaurant business, and then I got into corporate hospitality, where I kind of honed in on the softer side of leadership and multi-unit. And so I had a liking. I always liked business, and I always liked people, and I liked taking care of people. And fast forward March of 2020, if we recall, the date was also the time of the pandemic that changed a lot of lives, a lot of businesses, including my family's. So early on, they were forced to close their restaurant, uh, not knowing when they would be able to open back up. And so I had an idea to help my family, my uncle, get his business online. Look for a white label online ordering platform that he can use, um, instead of having to give his business away to the big guys that charge crazy commissions. And so, and I parlayed that into creating digital menus, QR menus, paperless menus. If you recall back then, a lot of things were touchless or paperless, early days of the pandemic. So I found a nice little space that I can help my own family's business. And then it didn't take very long for it to kind of take off. I come from a Greek American background, and a lot of people in my community are in the restaurant or hospitality industry. So word of mouth, knocking on doors, especially during the beginning of the pandemic, where it was a very unknown time. And I quickly got a couple. I didn't want to call them customers at first because I wasn't really charging them much. I was just trying to help them out. And then I got to the point where my phone kept ringing, and I said, okay, I have to be smart with my time, and also uh, maybe capitalize on the opportunity that was there. So I quickly created a logo and a company and the website, and I kind of hid behind that for a minute just to give me some time to turn projects around, and also create a catalog that I can offer to people that they can maybe pay me. I felt awkward just charging people from the get go. So that's how it started. And here we are now, four and a half years later.
I love that you accidentally fell into entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
But that's what it is, right? You find a need and you meet it, and it sounds like you did some great service to help people out.
Yep.
I mean, you've grown though. You didn't just stay a solo, which a lot of marketers do.
Yeah.
You've moved on. You've passed your $1 million mark. You've been building a team. What are some of the lessons you've learned now that you've got to that point? Things that have helped you beyond, when you after your
Yeah.
ninth or 10th hire.
Yeah. Yeah. So I realized early on that I couldn't do it all myself. Right. And so, in order to leverage my time and abilities, I had to find others who did things better than I did, to take it off my plate. I remember reading a book called E Myth very early on, and that resonated with me because I had a side hustle in the consultation business that I started, and it was all on me, right? I was involved with real estate and did some sales for a short time, and so that was all on me. So I was involved in things that I couldn't really scale outside of me. So when this opportunity to start my own little company from scratch came about, I said I'm going to take a step back and build positions up and then fire myself from them. And so early on, I realized that leveraging my time and leveraging other people's time so that we can build something together was the catalyst that helped me grow. Year one, year two, year three. So definitely, um, you know, learning soft skills, learning leadership skills. Develop. The world kind of shifted overnight back in 2020, and so people were scared, obviously, to leave their homes. But there was also a creative time where people were home and looking for for opportunities. So I leveraged that, right? I found team members who, were home, and I said, you know what, let me take advantage of this time and create I called it a lifestyle business early on, where it's like, hey, you can work around the clock whenever you want. The work is always going to be there if you want it. So that was my I guess the idea early on, and it kind of morphed into a contagious company where friends were bringing their friends on board, and here we are.
Very cool. So one of your secrets to growth was actually to take advantage of what was happening demographically.
Yeah,
In the economy, you had a lot of people who were saying, hey, I want something different than the 9 to 5 job. I want to be able to do something from home. Sometimes I want to work from 7 to 11 at night. I just want to
yeah,
crank some stuff out. Like, let me just get my job done and what works well for me, my family, my pursuits. And you kind of built your team around that. Have
yeah.
you found it was at all a struggle to keep the same level of like engagement, team, or loyalty that you would expect, or what did you do to build that?
Yeah, so early on, some of my team members were offshore, right? They were overseas. They were actually in Greece, and a lot of them are still with us now, and they're great, right? And I also noticed that they were in a different time zone, and so I can either use that against me or for me. So what would happen was we structured our business to business or customer relationship to be, hey, send us your work, send us any kind of menus or catalogs that you need design. We'll have it ready for you in the morning. So I would send it to our team. It was nothing. I didn't create anything new. This is very common in the marketing space, and it worked out great. As we continued to grow and scale at a local level, I also found it was tough for the sales or the support to be all through me. So then I had to parlay my time here stateside and build some team members here. So we invested our time into getting team members here locally that can help bridge the gap, right? Because someone who, if they're 7 or 8 or 9 hours ahead in a different time zone, might not be available, let's say 4 p.m. when a customer needs support here. So I kind of was very cautious into bringing too many offshore freelancers on the team. And, I'm very customer service driven. So I wouldn't want to sell a product or a service that I couldn't deliver myself. So once we had the design team in place, then we reinvested our time into having boots on the ground here. So, there's moments where it is tough, but as we got better at it, we realized that we're not going to offer products that we can't offer support. So if somebody calls us Sunday night at 7 p.m., we have the tools and team and resources in place to handle that customer, question or dilemma. So I take that pretty personal. My biggest compliment I have, or I'm most proud of, is a restaurant or a landscape, or someone calls us in the pinch because they can't get access to their Google business page, or they want to remove a comment on Facebook, and they call us at a random time that they can get a hold of no one else, and we answer and we deliver. Um, so yeah, that's kind of how we balance that out. I think you're on mute, David.
You Sorry about that. Thank you. You
Yep.
learned how to manage that difference in time.
Yeah.
That though you're on different time zones, you had the chance to say, hey, rather than make this a weakness or my team apart, how do I build in? So here's my design team, here's my customer connection, and having them work as teams,
Yeah.
literally caring for the same customer, handing things off, doing that, and then you built it as a strength. So you pretty much have 24/7 service in an
Yeah.
industry that is a like you're lucky if between 9 and 4:30 you actually get a hold of someone in your own time
Yeah.
zone.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Very cool. Well, I mean, you've done some great things. As you've been doing that, I mean, the fun thing about being an entrepreneur is we always have these challenges that we have to wrestle to the ground and solve. And
Mhm.
it's exciting when we solve them, we're rewarded with a bigger challenge, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just on to the next thing. So, what's your next stage? What are you working on now that maybe we can be of help?
Yeah. Sure. So we actually had the opportunity to acquire another business this year. We were actually customers of a print company that's been around for 30 plus years. And opportunity came to acquire them. The owner was looking to settle down and retire. And so now we're in the position of merging. We've acquired the business. We took the time these last couple months to create the systems that integrate with our current design model and our team. And now we're looking on creating one brand, one vision, one message, that we're not only just a design agency or company, but we're also print. With that, however, there's a more personal touch with print, because now customers want to see samples. Customers want to have things delivered right to their door. So now although we're still essentially remote and we work, on the digital front, one of the challenges we have is creating systems in place to make sure that we're providing customers the same level of support that they enjoyed with Orama, but also have it on print. And so internally, there's a lot of, I would say, there are always challenges, right? But how do we still uphold the same level of service when it comes to having a physical product? Because we might do everything right, but the physical product for some reason might not come to their liking, or maybe it's damaged when it gets delivered. And so we're trying not to slow things down, because we turn projects around pretty quickly. But when you're dealing with print, there is extra time involved in the process. So we're just creating systems internally to make sure that customers have the same level of experience with print as they know with digital. Because I can hit send and send you a digital flyer that you can post. With print, it just takes a lot longer. Even something as simple as, not to get long-winded, but we send you a flyer, you need to approve it before we print it. How do we get the customer to meet us in the middle, right? Because it might be sitting on our project board for 3-4 days before they even reply, approve. Are we hounding them too much? Are we being, aggressive in their approval so we can get this job done? So that's something that we're working on internally, figure out what the sweet spot is.
Yeah, that is a challenge. It's always can I ask you just a little bit about your acquisition?
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you acquire people or just machinery and capability?
Machinery capability, and obviously the book of business, and also people. Right. It was the previous owner, Rick, had pretty much downsized his business from a people standpoint. So we kept him on board because of his experience, his people skills, and just his overall knowledge. So he's still with us on a part-time basis. But it was more the print process and the book of business that came along with it.
Okay, so not as much challenge around cultural fixing some of that and matching that up to
Correct.
your
Yeah.
desires, as much as just how we fix this particular issue, a service quality level, to move things as fast, because
Yes.
their late reply slows your whole process down,
Absolutely.
makes everything else back up.
Yeah.
Um, w- when you have talked with your team about the vision of what excellence looks like, so
Mm-hmm.
when you think about a business, there's an overall vision.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's like um, goals, big
Mm-hmm.
level goals that are, out 5, 10, 15 years or something.
Yeah.
And then there's this strategy of how we're going to win in the eyes of our best customers.
Yeah.
So when you talk to your team about this strategy of how you're going to win in the eyes of your best customers, and then how you have to then build all your processes,
Mm-hmm.
people, information flow, reward system, all that has to be tied into it. Um, when you talk to them about that and what needs to shift or adjust, what do they say are the key things? Are you bringing your key team members in to fix this problem?
Yeah. So we are pretty diligent on a daily basis in communicating. We have our structured calls and our think big meetings, not just our project tracker calls, but just thinking big.
Yeah, but more of the strategy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So strategy wise, we always want to look at how is the internal process affecting the external process. So
Mhm.
what can we do internally to make the experience enjoyable? Because it's going to get passed on to the customer, I believe, right? So we're always picking apart projects. We'll have a recap call and say, well, let's look at the top 5 projects that made us feel good. Not just what made us the most money, right? But just what made us feel good. And let's look at the top 5 that didn't make us feel good. And what can we draw away from those 5 projects? It could be something as simple as we had a quick response or quick turnaround from the customer. or we're dealing with the number two on their side, meaning we're not dealing with the owner, we're dealing with a manager or a gatekeeper. Those projects seem to move a lot faster because business owners obviously have a lot on their plate. So internally, we're always trying to look at the experience and the energy we're gaining from different projects, and just inch by inch, 1 degree at a time, try to replicate those good experiences, because I think it translates very well to the customer side of things. And I think the more
Yeah.
we can do that, the more it takes care of itself.
Okay. So this given issue, when you guys have looked at it, uh, have you? And let's use your company name for the fun of it,
Yeah,
and we'll do the lowercase. So you told me
yeah,
that Orama stands for vision in
yeah,
Greek, right?
yep,
So, what's the vision for success around the delivery time and the whole piece? Have you guys defined out and said we would hit these kinds of metrics would mean success for us for this particular project? Clear
yeah,
vision for success?
yeah. So we're still fairly new because we just acquired and merged in June the company. So the
Okay.
last 4 months have been figuring out the systems, and now that we're kind of zooming out just a bit and putting some KPIs on success, a lot of what we deal with is time sensitive. So what's successful for us would be, okay, well, how long did it get us to from initial contact with the customer to the actual design approval, right? How long did it take from the design approval to get into production? And how long did it get from production into the customer's hands? So we're seeing our client base is happiest when time is of the essence and we deliver. So right now, success for us is hitting those key notes, those key points, right? Time of initial contact, time of production, and time for delivering the product. So I guess that's kind of where we're at early on in our acquisition. I don't know if that answers your question.
It does a little bit. It
Yeah.
sounds like then you've begun to measure what your current results are in each of those areas
Yes.
and then establish a target
Correct.
of what it needs to be. And then one of the most powerful questions we can ask with our team. So, what if? What if we could do even better than that target?
Mhm.
What would it take for us to do it?
Yes.
Right? And begin
Yes.
to ask that what if and then dream a little how.
Mhm.
This is that long term. I mean, you've already got that rhythm in your business of let's think a little long term. Let's think beyond just
Yeah.
this customer and this operation. So when we get a current state and a desired future state or the what if state even beyond that, and you start to say, okay, does this really matter? And you get everyone to say, oh yeah, it does. The dissonance that creates is now an opportunity. It's an opportunity for the team to begin to wonder, to begin to think about it, and to say, to pull that off, these things would have to be true. If any of these things weren't true, it would make this fail, right? Until they begin to design a process that could be followed. Process, the team again, and their skill set that could deliver in that, the information and how it flows so that it's
Mhm.
fast enough, and align the incentives so everyone remembers why this matters so much through the
Absolutely.
process. So when we think about that change, just think, okay, this is what we need. And one last piece that, when I'm hearing from the outside is help your team know the time isn't necessarily of the essence. That's one of our measurements.
Mhm.
The other one was this customer experience. Because if we're rushing to get our
Yes.
thing done, we're upsetting somebody. It's not working. So either new type of customer or new process, right? What do we need to do in there? Um, are those things you're already doing? And if so, push me for something better. Now, I don't want to give you advice on stuff you're already doing. So
Yeah.
what could help you move forward?
Yeah. So I like that you mentioned about the customer experience, right? Because we don't know what that customer experience is like, and unless we probe and find a genuine way to approach. It's not always about just asking for a Google review. It's actually taking the time to, hey, this is
Oh,
Bill. I saw you got a project delivered last week. Can you tell me a little bit about the experience? Can you tell me a little bit how, um, how it went with the team? Anything that we could have done better. So we're working on having more genuine connections with these projects, because what what is fun about acquiring a new company and essentially their customers that you don't know these customers, right? They're doing business with you based on the merits of the previous ownership and the previous reputation they had. And
that
so,
that may have been built on winning because of price, or they may
exactly.
have been the fastest to deliver but hard to
Yeah.
work with, or the
Yes.
absolute highest quality but
Yeah.
jerks. I mean,
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
met people in printing in all of those categories, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, huge
Yeah.
challenge.
Yeah. And so I think part of our personality, even my personality, is I don't want to be known to be the cheapest guy, because I'm not, right. But I want to be honest. I want you to enjoy the experience, right, and know that, hey, when I'm thinking of this service or this product, who is the first that comes to mind? And that's honestly kind of where we're at in our baby stages of growth.
I like that. So I'll put some other words that could be wrong, but I think while we're going through this, one, you're probably, unless you're going to treat them like two separate businesses that just help each other on occasion,
Mm-hmm.
if you're going to treat them like one business, one customer, one experience through there, you may want to decide, are we a marketing agency that happens to do print?
Mm-hmm.
Or are we a print agency that knows full spectrum marketing? So, like, how we go to market matters on how
Mm-hmm.
people put us in their minds. And then, secondly, whichever one wins on that, the other one becomes subject to it. It's the tail, not the dog. Okay, we have
Yeah.
to decide, right? Who's the dog
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
And let's pretend, because it's kind of how you've talked about, let's pretend the marketing agency that Orana wins, and that this print is only in support of this bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
But that's difficult. One's digital, one's print. They are really different.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if one of them wins, then if we need the marketing agency to come across as the easiest to work with, I mean, that's that customer service thing, right?
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I just have to show up. I don't have to think much about it. You've got a way, and you get me, and you help me figure out. You just make it simple. The
Mm-hmm.
buying process is easy. The implementation's easy. The purchasing's easy. You made it easy for me. That's why I think of you. Then the print needs to find out to serve Orana. Is it, hey, look, print, just do it fast. So we always have it easy. When they're ready for it, it's in their
Mm-hmm.
hands.
Mm-hmm.
Fast but patient.
Yeah.
Or or are we doing a different game and it's like, no, 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 no. We want you to be easy to work with too, because they actually work directly with you and not with us sometimes. And so now you're going to have two, we'll say, slightly less efficient but very easy to work with organizations. And to
That
choose
makes
which
sense.
one is subject to the other may help you in your organizing of that team. It's the service, like, oh yeah, this person has to win with the customer. Let's make sure print is easily delivered to them, their specifications, not the way we deliver to a customer, but the way we would
Yeah.
deliver to our internals who can, manage the experience. So a thought.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Great insight.
It's called an enterprise level strategy when you start thinking about um, what do we integrate, what do we keep apart, what has to serve whom,
Mm-hmm.
and really asking the question, whom do you serve and what do they need to accomplish, and how do I deliver on that, how do I measure and know it's working? Everyone needs to answer that, and then we start figuring, oh, this one serves this one, or no, both of these serve the customer directly, right? And we just
Yeah.
have a someone who manages the relationship. But seeing that clearly will, through the eyes of what your customer experience needs to be, will probably help just answer some of the questions. So it's not just whoever has the strongest personality, they become the
Yeah.
dog in the end. We don't want that,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Makes sense. 100%.
Cool. Anyway,
Great
anything
insight.
else you're working on that you want to talk about? More than happy to.
Yeah. So we are starting, excuse me, a design community. What I mean by that is we use Canva quite a bit, and Canva is not your, there's
It's
a
not
lot
your
of,
high end one,
it's not your high end one, exactly. However,
right?
there can be high end products that come out of it. Um, if you're not using general templates, if you're actually using your design and vision skills. So I started a community on School, Skool, if you've ever heard of it. And what we're doing is we're putting out free design content. I'm literally recording, my team and I are recording, designing that we're doing using Canva and showing the finished product, and also showing how to print it. And so what we're doing is we're trying to create a community of either experienced designers, ones who've never used Canva but are intrigued, or someone who's never even tried designing anything before. And the response has been great. I mean, we're getting members daily. It's only been around for almost 2.5 weeks. And so we're creating a little design community. On the backside of it, we're also enabling anyone who's in the community to design and also learn how to sell the product. So this can be someone sitting at home who loves making invitations for birthday parties or weddings, and they can hop on our community, ask us questions, schedule one-to-ones, and then design and print through our help, through us, whether it's our company or through our support, and essentially become designers. Maybe freelance designers who send work our way, or someone who wants to start their own business, similar to what I did. And so that channel is SKOOL school.com/Orama. So that's a little plug there if anyone wants to join it. Again, totally free content, and you're free to join and be in a community with other Canva designers, whether they're new, young, inexperienced, or professionals. It's actually pretty fun. So that's what we're working on, and hopefully
That's
it
cool.
builds its own affiliate base that people can design and print on their own without having to go to the big dogs.
Yeah, I really like that. Well, here's a side thing. While you were talking, I was like, oh, I'm seeing some other great business ideas.
Yeah.
what is what if you had a little though you're doing this free one on school.com, what
Mhm.
if you had a here's a paid for, not an expensive paid for,
Yeah.
but enough of a paid for a certification level,
So I can't
that
spill all
in
my
the end.
beans here, David. I have that
Okay, I'll
already.
shut up because I was like, check out the recruiting pool. You were like getting people to pay to prove that they're your team, right? And you're starting like, yeah, you're in, you're in.
I
I'm doing a little project with you. I'm hiring. Sorry, I was
I
shut
got the
up on that.
free I got the freemium stuff first to bait you in, but then if you want to go next level, my time is money too. So
That's
yeah,
right.
that's
And what
definitely
a great
in the
way
in
to
the
just build
works.
the whole community of great
Yeah,
designers and some decent funds. Anyway, very
yeah.
cool. Well, uh, thank you so much, Vasilios. It was great getting
Thank you,
to know
David.
you and to meet you. If someone wants to get in touch with you to do their design or print,
Yeah,
especially, well, globally for the digital, maybe a little more local if you want same day print type of stuff,
yeah,
you might need to be
yeah,
more in the Jersey area or,
yeah.
Tampa area. How would they get in touch with you?
So our website's oramadigitaldesign.com. If you want to really get onto that one-on-one basis and design basis, like I said, we have our school community. It's school, that's spelled SKOOL.com/Orama. And our print business, our print agency, is uppercaseprinting.com. So any of those three, we're pretty active on social media, Instagram, again, Orama Digital Design, and Facebook as well. And yeah, that's kind of where you can find us.
That's fantastic. Well, that wraps up another episode of the Seven Figure Journey podcast. Thanks again so much for participating today.
Thank you.
If if any of you listeners really valued what you heard and some of the things that Vasilios shared with us, please like, share, get it to the other business owners that would benefit from these ideas. Until next time, keep striving, keep learning, keep growing, and keep caring.